Hi, today I'm going to talk about cryptography. This is just part one of that. My name is Narari K. Hunsur, and most of these videos I'm talking about are available in these following sites. You can also get in touch with me by this Gmail. So, overview of the presentation is introduction to cryptography, overview of security, encryption basics, in which I'm going to talk about basically symmetric key in this presentation. A symmetric key where you have private and public key. We'll talk about in the next part, bibliography, and then a quick wrap up. So, what is cryptography? Cryptography is the study of secure way of communication. Only the sender and the intended recipient of a message can view its contents. Cryptos derived from the Greek word cryptos, which means hidden. Encryption, which is the act of scrambling ordinary text into what is known as ciphertext, back and then back again. Most common use of cryptography is to encrypt and decrypt email and other plain text messages. The simplest method uses what's known as symmetric or secret key system. So, why encryption? Confidential information exchange to prevent unauthorized persons from getting access to it. Integrity, essentially to ensure data consistency so that nobody else is tampering with whatever message you exchanged. Authentication, identify the person or originating source. In conventional business, we use visual identification, meaning that if you go to a bank and present a check, they know who you are. They may ask you Aadhaar card or some other identification. But over the internet or something when you're doing through email, that is not possible. Here's a nice quote by the author Jane Austen. She says, every man is surrounded by a neighborhood of voluntary spies. Basically, whatever happens in your house, you would have realized your neighbors seem to know it before your own relatives know. So, why do we need encryption or secret writing? Non-repudiation, meaning that sender of the information cannot deny it later. For example, you ordered something on the Amazon or ordered a money transfer. You cannot deny that you did it and somebody else did it. So that is why you need to have this availability, easy as access for legitimate users, difficult for unauthorized users, access control methods, user authentication for legitimate user. This also prevents repudiation. So we need a safe, quick, and inexpensive way of exchanging information. Only the sender and receiver can understand. We need a secure way of identification. Two issues are here. One, the sender is the person he claims to be, and it's not somebody else impersonating him. And the message is what he sent and not something somebody else changed. So these two are very, very crucial. Identification should be such that anybody can check are needed for proving that it is indeed you who sent the message. Nobody can reproduce, so it cannot be forged. The needs. The problem is similar to password creation. Some of us who have used Unix system would know that you create a user ID and you type in a password. The system administrator can only verify if the password is matching, but he cannot recreate it. For example, if you forget about your password, the system administrator cannot recreate it, at least in the Unix. So for that, we need a fast, simple way to compute and verify. Reverse computation should be difficult, meaning nobody else should be able to do it. Protect for bona fide and malified intentions. Encryption provides some answers for this. So here's a simple example. User enters a password. The system adds what's called a salt, which is basically a random sequence of alphanumeric characters. So your password plus salt is then encrypted and stored as password. Any other encryption. This here stands for one of the systems which you have. So the system administrator only stores UID and salt. He does not get the password. So when you enter the password, automatically system checks the for your UID, that is the salt, it adds it, then checks with the encrypted system. So every user logs in, real password, add salt, encrypt, compare with part. So different user IDs, for example, even if they use the same password, what is encrypted and stored will be different because it's a combination of user ID and the salt which is generated by the system. So let's look at the basics of encryption. Cryptography can safeguard up to a point. Computer security is like a chain. hardware, software, apps, users, infrastructure, a whole lot of places where things can go wrong. A single weak link can jeopardize the whole system. So, what's the use of any system when the users choose bad passwords like 12345 or QWERTY, a name of self or spouse or their favorite or pet dog or a cat? Or, for example, write down the password on a desk calendar or a piece of paper, share it with everyone, leave their systems logged in. So all these are places where which are the weak links. So easy and basic precaution some of us can take. The minimum size of the password should be between 8 to 12 characters. Should be a combination of alphabets, uppercase, lowercase, special characters, dollar, hash, pound, etc. This way, it's difficult for somebody else to, guess your password. So cryptography basically has three different aspects to it. One is symmetric ciphers, the second is asymmetric ciphers, and then protocols. Symmetric ciphers is what we are going to talk today in this video. So encryption basically turn plain text into coded messages. For example, you want to send this best of luck to students message, and it goes as this G, J, Z, X, Y, some gibberish, which nobody can understand what it is. Only when decrypting, turn this coded text back into the best of luck students, which is the actual text you want to do. Symmetric ciphers, same key for encrypting and decrypting. Like normal locks, you can lock and open them with the same key. Asymmetric ciphers, which are slightly different. Different keys for encrypting and decrypting. You cannot decrypt with the same key which was used for encrypting. It's something like, the Chakravyuha, which is described in Mahabharata. You can go in through one way, but you cannot come out through the same way. Something like that. So, if you look at it schematically, conventional schemes, symmetric key, locking, opening the same key. Secure channel is needed only for the key. So, let's say if you have a huge one-page message you want to send, securing that through sending through a channel is very, very difficult. Let's say you have input text message, you have a key through which you encrypt it. An encrypted text is sent through any normal channel. You can email it, post it, whatever. Unless the person who knows what is the key you have used to encrypt it, they cannot read the message. So secure channel is needed only for the key and not for the whole text. So this way, for example, you can send a 100-page report and a one-word key. For example, you can say the encrypting key is a word like distribute, and then without that, they cannot read the 100-page note. Symmetric key, for one example, is called a substitution. It's almost childish, but it's the first thing which was used long ago. Simplest method for encrypting a text is to substitution, basically replaced one letter by anything. Historically, this type of cipher has been used many times and in good illustration of basic cryptography. The goal of the substitution cipher is the encryption of text as opposed to bits and modern digital systems. This works only for text systems in whatever language, but text systems only, no digital signatures. The technique is simple. You substitute each letter of the alphabet with another one. Let's take an English example. As shown before, best of luck to students. How does it become this gibberish? All I have done here is substituted A by F, B by G, C by H, B by A, W by B, etc. So once you know how it is substituted, then you can get this back. So encryption historical methods, simple alphabet shift, replace A by M, B by N, whatever, is easy to break. Try all 25 substitutions, then you will know exactly within seconds now with even a simple tool like Excel, you'll be able to do that. However, the next version is substitution random, A by E, but B by Q, etc. In this case, you have 26 factorial possibilities. It takes a little longer to break. However, it is easy to break by letter frequency and pattern analysis. For example, in English language, the letter E is the most frequent and the most common three-letter word is the. So once you have E and the, then the rest becomes easy. And if the subject information is known, the scheme is useless. For example, let's say you're sending something with respect to aerodynamics, you know things like drag, lift, moment coefficient, and all that. So once you know that, if you have this four-letter word drag, you can easily guess. If it is a communication, then you have other words like frequency, things like that. So once you know the subject of the information, it's very easy to break. So here is a simple example explained. This is the original text A B C D E F F. What I have done is shifted by 5. So when I shift by 5, this rotates back. So A becomes V, B becomes W, X, like that. So, and then plain text, best of luck to students, becomes this gibberish. So there's another method called transposition. This also is a simple method. So here what you do is count the number of characters in the message and the key. You decide on the key. Draw a number of boxes equal to the key in a single row. For example, 6 boxes for a key of 6. Fill the boxes from left to right with one character per box, including blanks and whatever else. So when you run out of boxes, still have characters left, add another row of boxes. Shade in the unused boxes in the last row, starting from the top left, going down, write out the characters. When you get the bottom of the column, move to the next column to the right. So this will be the ciphertext. Here is an example visually. So the message I want to send is best of luck to students. So I take the key as 6. So I write 6 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I write best BEST blank here as in the plain text. OF blank again. LUCK blank TO blank ST, like that. So this is the written like that. Now, how do I get the encrypted text? I simply read it this way. So BF blank UE blank TD, what you see here. This is the encrypted text. Okay, now if I send this, but how do I get it back to that old one? Same way, uh, if you have known the this key as 6, okay, you have 6 rows now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and columns you add as and when needed. So in that uh, way, you write the same thing, whatever you got, BF blank U, and like that. Now, if you read it this way, from vertically, best of luck, you get back the system. Okay, so first you have to decide the block size, 4 here, write out the encrypted message horizontally, including blanks, then read off the letters. So this is a very simple technique which has been used. I'm going to have some quick bibliography. Applied Cryptography by Bruce Shiner. It's an old 1996 book. Why Cryptography is Harder Than It Looks, again by Bruce Shiner. And then there is another Private and Authentication, Privacy and Authentication, an Introduction to Cryptography, IEEE Proceedings. By another book by Hellman, Mathematics of Public Key, published in Scientific American 1979. Thank you, and thank you for listening to me.